Welcome to Wizard101. I'll be splitting this video into chapters where at the beginning of each I'll refresh your memory about the topic, and then at the end of each segment I'll provide you with useful information that you may not know. As of 2025, there are 16 worlds made into 4 arcs. That means you want to be questing as efficiently as possible because Wizard101 requires you to pay a membership to quest. The longer you take, the more money you'll be spending. The first tip is to not get scammed by the Crownshop. 95% of the items are not useful. For example, these pets are very expensive and they do not give you the ideal stats when you train it up. They are all terrible, just like how it's a terrible idea to purchase gold and mega snacks with crowns. The Crownshop is for people that want to spend their real-life money to collect items like mounts, housing items, outfits, and for people that are impatient at making a pet. If you do want to purchase something, I recommend the Expand Backpack Elixir so that you can hold more items, and the Professor's Hoard Pack if someone is offering to gift you a pack. But if you want to purchase your own pack, you should wait until you finish the world called Lemuria and Wallery to buy the world pack, which will give you the best gear that is very obnoxious to attain normally without paying crowns. You can only access the world packs though in the Crownshop when you finish the world, so if you haven't completed the final boss you cannot see the pack because you get the endgame gear. If you don't want to wait that long to spend your money, hey, you can always give it to me instead. Donation link in the description. The next tip is that if you're a beginner, you want to choose the right skills so that you can do damage while also having enough health to not die while you quest. I recommend Fire, Myth, or Death. This is because Fire's meteor spell is the fastest AoE spell animation in the game, Myth has the strongest 7-pip AoE compared to everyone else, and Death Wizards rarely need to look for health because they drain all their health back. So the skill you pick affects the speed of your gameplay in different ways. For the other skills, they are for people who already know how to quest efficiently. So eventually everyone does make a storm down the line because they are the main protagonists. They struggle in the beginning due to their health, then they rise to the top as the most powerful skill that everyone gives their blades to. Next is obtaining a mount. You can buy a temporary one for 1,000 gold as Zeke in the commons, and if you want to purchase a permanent one, you can scroll halfway down in the Crownshop where these can be purchased with gold. If you are going to buy a mount with crowns for the aesthetics, keep in mind that larger size mounts will cover more of your screen, so it will be difficult to see while questing. In the months of April, I highly recommend almost everyone to purchase the Barrel mount, which is an April Fool's mount. Not only is it the cheapest 2-person mount, but it is also very quiet and it doesn't take much screen space, unlike 99.9% of the multi-person mounts. The other 0.1% is the creepy car mount obtained from this bundle. The next tip and trick is having 2 deck setups. One is for minion battles and the other is for boss battles. So in your backpack you can create presets for your gear. Here I'll create a setup for my minion deck. Then after equipping my boss deck, I can create the boss gear setup. You can toggle your setup by pressing Ctrl 1 on your keyboard, which equips the first setup at the top, and then Ctrl 2 will equip the next setup, and so on. For your minion deck, aim for 7 cards, and for your boss deck, aim for 14 cards or less. So if you're wondering how you're gonna kill with that small of a deck, the trick is to pack treasure cards, which will ensure that you kill. So if you're under level 56, you purchase monstrous treasure cards, which makes your spell do more damage. How you acquire them is to go to the housing tours in the commons, visit a house in any category, sort the house alphabetically by clicking the top, then look for the Arcanum apartment. When you exit the house, you are brought to the Arcanum where there is a monkey NPC that lets you purchase monstrous and other useful treasure cards like mass prisms and blades. With the monstrous treasure cards, you should be able to enchant your spell and then instantly kill the minion if your gear is up to date. At level 56, you can permanently learn monstrous, so you don't really need to pack them in the side anymore, which ends up freeing you space to then pack 2-pip hits in case 1 minion didn't die, a backup AoE for when 2 minions didn't die, and powers or dark pact for when you get weakness, and then both a feint and a reshuffle in case you accidentally forget to switch to your boss deck. If you do accidentally go in a battle with the boss, you can still kill the boss with this deck setup. It will obviously just take you longer to kill. So if you're packing reshuffles, make sure to set your Archmastery to balance so that in the very rare case that you use a reshuffle, you spend less pips casting the card. If you don't know what Archmastery is, I'll explain that really soon. For Storm Wizards, you can ignore packing 2-pip hits because your Tempest is the only AoE in the game that allows the enchantment to stay on. So you can pre-enchant your Tempest with Gargantuan treasure cards like how I am doing here, and then they get stored as a treasure card after the battle. So that is what your minion deck will look like at a higher level. And then for your boss deck, it is up to you what you want to pack. This is what mine looked like on my fire when I reached Azteca all the way to Lemuria. And I had my Archmastery set on life for my boss deck in the very rare case that I need to use a fairy. If this video is helping you so far, don't forget to leave a like. It only takes 1 second to click that button. I appreciate it. If you're unfamiliar with what Archmastery is, it's the ability to turn your power pip to a different school. For example, a fairy costs 2 pips, but if you're not a life wizard, you'll be spending both your new pip and a power pip, which would be using a value of 3 pips to cast the fairy instead of 2. Or if you have 2 normal power pips, it would be consuming a value of 4 pips. Whereas if you change your pip to life, it only eats 1 life pip at the value of 2 pips, which is the correct value of the fairy. With those pips, you can still use your regular spells normally. So it's literally just a way to save pips if you're using a spell that is not of your school. Speaking of using spells that are not of your own school, you should not be training a secondary school because it is better to use a treasure card version. Take Satyr for example. The original heals you for 860 health, whereas the treasure card version gives you 990. Reshuffle costs 4 pips, but it only costs 3 pips as a treasure card. Weakness debuffs the enemy for 25%, but it debuffs for 30% as a treasure card. If you train Tower Shields, you end up clogging your deck, whereas you can immediately pull it from the side whenever you actually need to use it. So do not train spells that are not of your own school unless they are a utility. This means yes, train enchants, support blades, feints, berserk and frenzy, protections, and when you reach level 50, you are able to spell weave into a secondary school. This secondary school should be Storm, which is like the tree in the Selenopolis place, not the Storm Ravenwood Professor, where when you do the spell weaving quest, when you reach the certain rank, you can train a blade for your own school and a blade for a storm to buff a storm whenever you are supporting a storm. For Storm Wizards, you don't need to do spell weaving. It is quite a pain to do, so you're very lucky if you're a storm. Now, the tip and trick that you may not know about is that there is a way to save training points when training feints. If you have farmed for Spirit School Spellments, you can bypass these requirements by learning the spell through the Spellment itself. So here I have enough Banshee Spellments to unlock the spell for free. Then all I need to do is spend the remaining amount of training points training the spells that I need in order to get feint. So that saves you roughly 3 or 4 or 5 training points depending on what spellments you have. Obviously you can't do this method if you don't have the death spellments. And a tip that you may not know is that you really should unequip your deck every time you learn a new spell. So if I'm learning feint, the prerequisites, I need to train them right, but it will all go into my deck, which messes your deck and you have to manually always remove them. So to bypass that, you just unequip your deck and then it won't go into your deck. Next is using the social tabs and the Crownshop to teleport to areas quickly. So as you may know, you should be upgrading your gear every 5 to 10 levels by going to the bazaar and selling all your items there for gold. The bazaar is located in Old Town in Wizard City, where there are 2 ways to get there the fastest. The first method is if you're already in Wizard City, then you can teleport to Tabitha or Ellie, but you can't really teleport to them if you are in a different world. So then the second method is by using the Crownshop and clicking this green button, which will bring you to Majid, where you can collect your loyalty points for being a member and purchasing anything that he's offering. From there, you can just make your way to the bazaar. If you are in another world and you need to refill your potions, the fastest way is by teleporting to Ravenwood by clicking this button in the Crownshop. Then you can make your way to the fairgrounds. If you don't want to spend gold on potions, the fastest way is to play the potion game, where you rapidly drag your mouse in different random directions and then exit the game when you reach reach this amount of level or points. The Crownshop is also useful for teleporting you to the world your quest is in by clicking this section. I use that a lot when I don't want to use a world gate in my house where you have to sit through two loading screens of teleporting to your house and then another loading screen of going to the world. Speaking of loading, the more worlds and houses you visit, the longer your login time will be on your Wizard101 launcher. That's the case for me, where if I look into my local package list, it has tracked every single place I have visited. If we remove the list, our loading time is almost instant, but the problem is that you'll get hit with this loading message every time you enter a new area. So the solution is to not touch the package list, but to make yourself a Quicklauncher, which can be easily set up within 30 seconds if you're using a Windows PC. All you need to do is open the location folder of Wizard101, make a shortcut of the Wizard101 client, then drag that shortcut onto your desktop. You can rename it to whatever you want. Then in the properties, access the target box and either type in this or just copy and paste it from the description. Make sure to add a space after the quotation mark and then you are done. So when you type in your username and password, you instantly log in without needing to watch a loading bar. But every time Wizard101 has a maintenance, you have to log in with the original launcher, which is why we have both launchers on our desktop, the original one and the Quicklauncher. To know when a maintenance occurs, the Quicklauncher won't let you play the game, so all you just need to do is log in with the original launcher and then you can continue using the Quicklauncher without needing to do anything further. KingZhao support has confirmed that using a Quicklauncher is not bannable or against TOS because it does not give you an advantage. This is because you haven't logged into the game to have an advantage. The next tip is locking your gear. For some reason, I don't know why, KingZhao doesn't automatically enable it for you. You have to manually do that in the settings option. Now you can lock everything in your backpack so that when you're questing, you can easily determine which gear is new to sell because they will show up unlocked. The next tip is storage. When you get to max level, you acquire a lot of gold and treasure cards. To store gold, you can purchase empowers if they're available in the bazaar or purchase snacks to sell for later. I have many empowers that take up too much space in my TC, so to store them, you purchase a bunch of decks with the highest amount of sideboard space. Make sure to lock all your decks so that you don't accidentally sell it because if you sell it, it goes all in your deck, but it doesn't really trash it, so even if you sell it, it doesn't matter. It's just you might accidentally sell it and then clog up your TC and have like 1,000+ TCs. You can also craft a seed vault, jewel vault, and gear vault if you tend to hoard items. The recipe can be purchased in Mushu. The last tip is to train a pet as early as possible because every time you level up, your energy refills, so it will go to waste if you're not using it. You can lock your level and then unlock your level whenever you do want to use energy so that your energy refills because you level up when you unlock. But if you have like 5 levels stored, that's 5 times the energy that you didn't use, right? So make sure to work on a pet as early as possible. I explained the best pet training method in this video and additional tips and tricks about pet making. I also have a Discord server where you can find people with pets or ask for help about Wizard101. There are many other tips and tricks that I didn't mention in this video, so if you want to learn more, then Firestarter and Zephyr and other people have made similar videos, so I'll link them in the description. Thank you for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check me out on Twitch where I stream every Friday night, American time zone.